put my mic here and let me be sure that people can hear us as well from this side. So we just play the anthem and then we go straight. So I just want to check on my other laptop to know that our sound is out properly, and then on my TV to know that the YouTube is good to go.
Great.
Sound is out. All right, our sound is coming out very good. I can hear myself. Yeah. All right, so we're just gonna play the anthem, and then we roll out. So let's play our anthem here, and then after that we just roll out.
Okay, thank you.
So. And I say a very good evening to every one of you that have joined us on this very beautiful Tuesday. So much we can remember when we talk about October. History of October is something that I'm sure some of us might not understand, but we have the privilege this evening with us that will be discussing, giving us a background of some of those information that some of us might not know. I have a speaker, Dr. Femi Owolade. What are we going to be discussing this evening? We're going to be looking at Sheikh Gumi'S father, Abubakar Mahmud Gumi. What role and what collaboration with the British during the latter part of our what we know as the colonial rule, before he founded the radical Islamist IZALA group. That is what we're going to be discussing tonight. But we might also want to say it's just under 24 hours before the EndSARS that took place last year, where hundreds and hundreds of innocent lives were killed by, somebody said we are not audible, so let me be sure why that is. We're 100. Okay, the sound is very good. It could be from your side. Mrs. Abiola Mary, the sound is very good from this end. Thank you very much. I'm also told the sound is good on the YouTube, so we're good to go. So tomorrow will be 1 year that the Lekki massacre also took place. Also, for those of us that might remember a very brilliant journalist and editor and the founder of the Newswatch magazine, Delegiwa was murdered by the Nigerian government. He died 19th of October 1986 at the age of 39. We would also remember him today. He was born on the 16th of March 1947, but he died on the 19th of October 1986 in Ikeja. He had a wife. As at the time he died, he was also well educated at the Brooklyn College in New York City, and he was also the founder of Newswatch. So I'm now going to hand over the conversation tonight to our doctor, that he might be able to give a little bit background of himself, and while I'm just going to sit down, just like so many of you tonight, and learn what we are going to be told tonight. Thank you very much.
Well, I've been over a year now, and your passion for the well-being of Yoruba people is something that is unmatched, something that is very rare, something that I honestly haven't, seen before. And I consider it a privilege that you have given me the platform today to, enlighten people and to speak to people about what I consider an important aspect of the history of Nigeria. The root cause of Islamic radicalization and the history, the early beginnings of what we see now as Islamic terrorism. So my name is Femi Owolade. I'm based in Britain. I recently completed a PhD in the history of northern Nigeria, the colonial history of northern Nigeria. I, like most people, most Nigerians in the diaspora, especially the ones based in Britain, I'm very passionate about Nigeria and Nigerians, people living in Nigeria. The well-being of the people, and it's something that it's always been my passion. So without going, too much into my background or my introduction, I think it's important that we go straight into what we're going to be talking about today. So today we're going to be talking about Sheikh Abubakar Mahmud Gumi, who is the father of Sheikh Gumi. I know that the son is someone, who many people are familiar with. Many people in Nigeria.
Can everybody please be muted, please?
Thank you. So I'm going to be talking about Sheikh Abubakar Mahmud Gumi today. Many of you are aware of his son and all the antics of his son, the controversial statements he has made about the bandits, the sympathy that he has for the bandits, and the total neglect that this man, Sheikh Mahmud Gumi, has for Yoruba people, Igbo people, pretty much everyone in Nigeria. But the Fulani people and the only people he really cares about are Fulani and the Hausa people. So I'm going to be trying to make us understand why certain people in Nigeria, in the northern Nigeria, the Fulani people and the Hausa people, I'll try to really explain to you why these people have this disdain and this total neglect or hatred for Yoruba people and for Igbo people. I will start by introducing the life of Sheikh Gumi.
Sadiq Oluwaremilekun, is either you mute or because you are not going to be disturbing a very, very vital information that I myself have never had before. Please let us, be one. Please go ahead, please, sir.
Okay, thank you. So I will go straight into this man's life. The father of Sheikh Gumi. His name is Sheikh Abubakar Mahmud Gumi. The man was born in northern Nigeria. This place was called the Northern Region because you have to remember that we're talking about the period that is before independence. What I'm going to be covering today are the events of Nigeria's past, the events that took place in the 1950s and the 1960s when Nigeria was getting ready to become an independent country. Sheikh Abubakar Mahmud Gumi was born on the 5th of November, 1922. He came from a very humble family. His family, was not, they had no, riches, no wealth, nothing. It's a relatively humble family. And his beginnings, I think this is a vital information that I'm going to, disclose to you now. And I want people to be very, very attentive. Of people living in the northern Nigeria. So especially the elites, the hypocrisy of the elites living in northern Nigeria. Sheikh Gumi'S upbringing was one that benefited a lot from the British privileges because, during this period, Nigeria was colonized. In the 1920s, Nigeria was under colonial rule, British colonial rule. And when Sheikh Gumi was growing up, his education was sponsored right from when he was a child. His education was sponsored by the British government, British colonial authority. And what I'm about to say now, I want people to be very, very attentive to it. There's a level of hypocrisy that comes out of northern Nigeria. I'm going to be very blunt now. I'm not going to be just mask my word or anything. I'm going to be very blunt now. There's a certain level of hypocrisy that we see, which allows a fundamental Islamic person coming from northern Nigeria to embrace or make use of the opportunities that are granted by the Western world, and at the same time, criticize these opportunities. So Sheikh Gumi was, from the time he was a very young child, an open critic of the Western ways of life. This is someone who did not believe that women should have education. He made so many, speeches, wrote so many booklets, discouraging women from having education or from having any sort of liberties or liberal rights. But with all these criticisms of Western ways, because he associated, the liberties and the education of women, he associated that with Western influence on Nigeria. With all this criticism of the Western ways, this man was not, he did not have any problem with seeking the help of the British to get his education, to get access to many politicians. Because as we know, Sheikh Gumi would later become a close associate of Sir Ahmadu Bello. And I want us to have this point at the back of our mind again, because it is very important, once I proceed and to explain the rise of radical Islamism and terrorism in Nigeria. Very, very important to know this point. When we speak of terrorism in Nigeria, the first thing that comes to our mind is Boko Haram. And that name Boko Haram itself means book is haram, is forbidden, or Western education is forbidden. You have people that have made it a slogan, their own slogan, to say that Western education is forbidden. At the same time, these people utilize. So this level of hypocrisy is one thing that I want us to have at the back of our mind, but I'm going to proceed now. In the So when Sheikh Gumi was growing up, you know, the British colonial government, you know, saw that, you know, this man was talented. You know, he was a very brilliant scholar, very brilliant Islamic scholar from an early age. You know, this man to recite the Quran from a very, very, very early age. And the British then saw his skills. You know, they were very, very impressed with him. And began to groom him from this early age. They began to groom him. They sponsored his education, his primary education, secondary education, and the higher level education. So there was a school called the Kano Law School, you know, which was created by the British in the 1930s. So the British, you know, spent a lot of money on this. And, you know, one thing that I know that, you know, us Southerners, it's Yoruba people and Igbo people, we are not going to be too happy with this. But the reality of British colonial government or British colonial rule in Nigeria was that the resources that form the backbone of the colonial government were produced by the Southern territories. I mean, we can even go back to 1914 and talk about the amalgamation and give the reasons for the amalgamation itself. The amalgamation of northern and southern Nigeria came about because the northern Nigeria could not be sustainable, self-sustainable. It was a barren land. Barren land, they were not producing much, you know, in the northern region. The southern region, you know, we had, you know, the southeast and the southwest. It was not southeast, southwest then. It was west and east. The southern region was booming. There were lots of you know, agricultural produce, you know, developed in the southern region, and the British wanted to create a situation whereby the resources in Yoruba land and Igbo land were used to support the lack of resources in the northern region. That was why amalgamation really took place. If you study the colonial government, the operation of the colonial government, and how, you know, they got their tax, because, you know, of course, governments, you know, they need to what constitutes the budget of the government is tax that people pay, and the, you know, agricultural produce, the economic viability of the people or living in the place. The economic viability of southern Nigeria was far, far more advanced than what we had. So I'm going to go back to the education of this Sheikh Gumi now. And I say that to really explain to us, you know, to give context. You know, we have to, when we speak of, you know, the issues that we have in Nigeria, it's good to really go back and have this background knowledge of how we really came about to this mess, terrible mess that, you know, we are in now. So, you know, the British had this scholarship scheme. British colonial governments had a scholarship scheme in which, you know, they gave the brilliant and talented people in the colony scholarships. They sponsored their trips, you know, to countries all over the world. The Muslims will usually go to Sudan, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia, you know, to study then. And then the Christians, you know, they will go to the United States and Great Britain. And in this scholarship scheme that was developed, most of the financial backends or the money that was going into this scheme came from southern Nigeria. So Sheikh Gumi was a beneficiary of the scholarship scheme. And, you know, like I said before, you know, this man criticized Western education all his life, criticized Western influence, Western education, but he had no problem with taking their money or benefiting from their scholarship schemes and the opportunities that they opened, that they had for him. And I know there's another thing that I would like to talk about, but I think we will need like an entire session, maybe like 1 hour to talk about that. And this thing is how the British really began to favor Fulani people, you know. I don't think I have enough time to touch on that today. I think we would have to arrange another meeting, entire meeting, to focus on that, because that in itself is something that is very important. You know, how the British began to favor, you know, Fulani people over Igbo and Yoruba people. But I will proceed and, you know, continue with this the issue of Sheikh Gumi. So Sheikh Gumi got scholarship, you know, from the British to study at you know, Kano Law School. Kano Law School was a school that was, you know, established by the British in the 1930s. And after he left Kano Law School, Sheikh Gumi began to work for the colonial government, they called it the native authority then. So he began to work, you know, for the government. And in 1950s, in 1954, Sheikh Gumi was sponsored by the British to travel to Sudan. And that was his first time leaving Nigeria. I believe first time leaving Nigeria, 1954. And this is very, very important, you know, for us to really understand how Islamic terrorism or Islamic radicalization really came into Nigeria, really began in Nigeria. Sheikh Gumi spent just 1 year in Sudan. And during that year, there were teachers, Islamic scholars from different parts of the Islamic world, mostly from the Middle East. He encountered, you know, these scholars, you know, those were mostly, you know, Arab scholars who had very radical beliefs, radical and fundamental beliefs. So in that engagement, you know, with the scholars, and that trip, that 1 year trip from 1954 to 1955, Sheikh Gumi began to develop some radical views, such as the corruption of Islam and bidya, they call it bidya, the innovations in Islam. So ideas like, you know, like that Islam should not be mixing with Western ways. Most of these ideas, you see it in the views of, you know, Boko Haram, you know, Boko Haram members, like the Sheikh Abubakar Sheikh, you know, I don't know if a lot of us understand, you know, Hausa or Kanuri, but when you listen to someone like Abubakar Sheikh, the late Abubakar Sheikh, leader of Boko Haram, when you listen to him speak, a lot of his views and his ideas are things that you can easily trace back to Sheikh Gumi. Things that you can trace back to Sheikh Gumi's and Sheikh Gumi's time spent in Sudan during that trip that was sponsored by the British from 1954 to 1955. When he encountered these, you know, teachers from the Middle East, telling him things are corrupted. I mean, I'm not in a position to judge anybody, but things that would have a negative impact, detrimental impact in the history of Nigeria, because it was after Sheikh Gumi came back from this trip. From Sudan, he went to Egypt. From Egypt, he went to Saudi Arabia. It was after Sheikh Gumi came back from these British-sponsored trips. And I want you guys to really understand. I want you to, if there's anything that you take out from this, my presentation today, I think it will be that these trips, the educational trips which this man, Sheikh Gumi, took, which would later lead to the rise of Islamic fundamentalism in Nigeria, were sponsored by the British government. These trips, educational trips, were sponsored by the British government. Scholarship trips. So Sheikh Gumi, from Sudan, he went to Egypt, he went to Saudi Arabia, then he came back. He came back in the 60s. In the late 50s, he came back. When he came back, he became the Grand Qadi of the Sharia court of the northern region, which is the equivalent to the Chief Justice. So he became, what you can call the Chief Justice and the biggest in the entire northern region. So as soon as he came back, one of his initial plan was to institute Sharia, not only in the northern region, but in the entire Nigeria then. So this was a time when Nigeria was getting ready to get its independence. You had figures all over, the regions, powerful figures. So we have in our western region, we had Femi Owolade, who was clamoring for our independence. The eastern region, you had Nnamdi Azikiwe, and then the northern region, you had Sir Ahmadu Bello. And these were people who had their own diverse opinions and diverse religions. There's a lot of diversity, in Nigeria then. We had Muslims, we had Yoruba, we had traditional worshippers. And this diversity that we had now was not, Sheikh Gumi didn't care about any of that. He felt strongly after he came back from these trips, from trips in Sudan, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia, he felt strongly that Nigeria should be an Islamic country. This was going into the independence in the late 1950s. He felt strongly that every region in Nigeria that did not practice Islam should be conquered, and then Islam should be enforced on the people living in this region. He had these very, very strong views. And then he became like I said, the Grand Qadi, in charge of, the laws, legal administration in northern Nigeria. And it was also during this period that he forged a very good relationship with Sir Ahmadu Bello. So it was, many people in Nigeria now, especially in northern Nigeria, they remember Sheikh Mahmud Gumi as the close associate of Sir Ahmadu Bello. He was a right-hand man of Sir Ahmadu Bello, the Southerner. He advised him on a lot of things, especially things that dealt with religion and politics. And his relationship with Sir Ahmadu Bello opened a lot of doors and access, a lot of opportunities for him to enforce his radical and his fundamental Islamic views on Nigeria and on northern Nigeria, especially. But as we know, after independence, the first coup attempt, Sir Ahmadu Bello died. Unfortunately, he was murdered, and the death of Sir Ahmadu Bello in that first coup attempt had a big impact on the life of Sheikh Gumi, because this was a man who had always got the support of Ahmadu Bello and the powers, the elites in Nigeria, northern Nigeria. But after Sir Ahmadu Bello died, Sheikh Gumi felt that the support, the major political support that he got, in northern Nigeria was starting to go down, was starting to become to fade, was starting to fade. And he felt that the new administration that had political power, the new political elites in northern Nigeria, after Sir Ahmadu Bello, did not listen to him. They frustrated a lot of his plans to spread Islam in the entire Nigeria. They frustrated his plans. And he became a wounded man after that. He became a wounded man, and that pushed him to become more radical. So we're talking about the 60s now. Pushed him to a more radical. After that, he went to Kaduna. He got a strong base in Kaduna and started to interact with students, young students who were universities, or some of them were not even universities. They were Islamist scholars. Some of them went to ABU, Ahmadu Bello University in Kaduna, and started to engage these students to contaminate their minds with these radical ideas of Islam. He began to impact these ideas onto students, some of the students that he saw in Kaduna. And from the 1970s, there was a rise with this riot, ad events, that gave arm to the poor. And for this reason, the poor people, the Talakawa of northern Nigeria, they embraced them. So from this movement, you had a string of incidents from this 70s, from the 1970s, where the IZALA movement started to develop. You had incidences in northern Nigeria that indicated that the region itself had become a radicalized region. You had the Maitatsini events in the 1980s, where this man, radical, Islamic man in northern Nigeria, started a movement that killed a lot of people, Christians and moderate, Muslims. And then, going fast forward to 1999, the clamoring for the institution of Sharia in the 12 northern states in Nigeria. And in that 99 period, this establishment of the Sharia in northern Nigeria, there was a lot of referencing events for the institution of the Sharia in 99, used a lot of things that Sheikh Gumi'S said to convince Obasanjo was our president, that establishing Sharia in northern states was the right thing to do. And then, after that, there were a few, incidences of, religious conflicts. After that 1999 establishment of Sharia in northern states, we had many people who protested and contested that decision. And then came the beast, the big beast, the Boko Haram in the 2000s. So a lot of people actually think Boko Haram was established in 2014 or 2013. But there was about 10 years before Boko Haram came into the scene. I think one of the first major messages that Boko Haram sent was when they tried to bomb the UN building. I believe that. But before that, in the year 2000, you had your leader, the very first leader of Boko Haram before Sheikh took charge. He was preaching the things that this was Mohammed Yusuf. We are talking about Mohammed Yusuf now. Mohammed Yusuf was the first leader of Boko Haram. In the year 2000, if you had listened to the sermons, the preachings, not the sermons, sorry, the Islamic preachings of Mohammed Yusuf in 2000, you would think that it's Sheikh Gumi speaking. A lot of the things I said referenced the likes of Sheikh Gumi and, of course, Usman Danfodio. I think we have to dedicate another presentation to Usman Danfodio, because his impact on Nigeria too has been very, very. I mean, it's far, far, far greater than anyone else. But Mohammed Yusuf, the founder of Boko Haram, had said on different occasions that Sheikh Gumi, Abubakar Gumi, is an inspiration to him. In fact, I would even take it one step further. I read the autobiography of Sheikh Gumi. I've read it. The first time I read it was 2017. In this autobiography, at the back page, people gave testimonies of how great this man was. This man that was responsible for the rise of Islamic radicalism or Islamic terrorism. People gave their testimonies of how great it was. And in one of the testimonies was actually given by our own president, Muhammadu Buhari. And I can clearly remember that testimony. Muhammadu Buhari said that in this testimony of how great Sheikh Abubakar Gumi was, Muhammadu Buhari said that there are three most important people in the history of Nigeria. Three of the most important people in the history of Nigeria. The first one is Usman Danfodio. The second is Ahmadu Bello. The third is Sheikh Abubakar Mahmud Gumi. So this is our president calling or referring to the man who caused Islamic terrorism to take root in Nigeria. Muhammad Buhari called him the third most important person in the history of Nigeria. I think that's a good place to close my presentation. Thank you very much. Thank you again, Bros. Bros, thank you again for giving me the opportunity to present this important topic. And I would like to answer questions from people. I don't know if we have people questions.
Well, thank you very much, Doctor, for giving us the highlight and the background to Abubakar Mahmud Gumi, who, for those that might not know, is also the father to Gumi, that I'm sure a lot of us might have seen in all the Nigerian newspaper, the television. Is a spokesman for the terrorists in Nigeria. So his father is what Doctor have been, giving us a background. I don't know whether you want to let us unmute those that we have with us, so that way we can take questions from them. Or if you just want to return back the host to me, and then I could help you from this end. Once again, we say thank you very much to each and every one of you that have joined us so far. And we would like to appreciate your time. Those that want to speak, want to unmute yourself, and we can take your question.
I will change the. I will make you the host.
Okay, yeah, I think I'm back as the host now. So let's see if we can. I mean, what I will do is I will just unmute everybody. But if you know that you don't want to speak, you can mute yourself back. From this side, so that in case those that want to call us, everybody knows the number +4475.
Yes, I think that's a very, very good question. With Kaduna, I think Kaduna's problems, one of the reasons, I think it could be one of the reasons. I think that another reason, which is probably the most important reason as to why Kaduna has problems is, and I lived in Kaduna very recently. 3 years ago, I spent the time in Kaduna doing research. Kaduna is one of the only northern states where you have a big population of Christians. So if you look at all the states in Nigeria, in northern states in Nigeria,
hold on, yeah, I'm going, doctor. Yeah, go ahead, please. Yeah.
If you look at all the northern states, the core north, we're not talking about the middle belt now. We're talking about the core northern states in Nigeria. You will find that they have big populations of Muslims, high populations of Muslims. But in Kaduna, in southern Kaduna, so Kaduna is divided into south and north. In southern Kaduna, you have a lot of Christians and a lot of people that are not Hausa or Fulani. And because of that mixture of religion and ethnicity, because of that diversity, you have the Muslims in Kaduna that are very radical, wanting to impose their authority.
All right, I'll let you just to hold on there. I'm gonna come to you, Babawa Yoruba Lowumi. Let's take the question from our caller. Hello, good evening, caller. Yeah. Ekale. Etonie. Okay.
Because location for one life.
Ǹjẹ́ èèyàn lè sọ pé bàbá Gumi tí à ń rí tó ń lọ tó ń bọ̀ bàbá ẹ̀ tẹ̀ London gan ló kú sí bí ṣe according to ti.
Yes, London ló kú sí. London ló kú.
Bí awọ́kọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀mọ̀ kó ìbò lẹ́tí sọ látẹ̀kan bí ẹ tẹ bá kọ̀ bá wa ẹ̀mọ̀ káwọn yẹn wà tá a bá ń sọ ìbò rẹpẹtẹ báyìí ẹlòmíràn ló máa lose náà pé wọ́n gbọ́n ìbò.
London ló kú sí. Àwọn British ni wọ́n sanwó gbogbo ìwé tó kà. Ìwé tó kà ní Sudan, nílùú Sudan, ìlú Egypt àti ìlú Saudi Arabia, àwọn British ló sponsor gbogbo education ẹ̀. Àwọn ni wọ́n san gbogbo ìwé. Ìgbà tó lọ sí Saudi Arabia ní gbogbo àwọn fundamental ideas yẹn, àwọn radical ideas tó cause tí Nàìjíríà fi di terrorism country by terrorism capital. Kí ni wá níbi ṣe number 2 àbí number 3 terrorism capital?
Ẹ ṣe lọ ní alàgbà wa tó pè ẹ jẹ́ ká máa bá ètò lọ. Ẹ jẹ́ ká wá sọ́dọ̀ bàbá wa Yorùbá Lówùmí àti unmute yín. Ẹ bá béèrè ìbéèrè tí ẹ fẹ́ bi dókítà wa tó wà lórí ètò pẹ̀lú wa lálẹ́ yìí.
Ẹ káalẹ́ o, mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin èèyàn mi ti dé toko. Mo kí dókítà wọn, mo kí bàbá wa kúùkì. Ọlọ́run jẹ́ kí a kórè òkò délé. Àwọn nǹkan tí mo fẹ́ sọ náà ni pé torí pé àwọn ta invite sínú group ta dẹ̀ kí wọ́n understand àwọn nǹkan tí wọ́n sọ. Kó má yẹ pé English nìkan náà ni a máa sọ torí pé ọ̀rọ̀ Yorùbá ni. Ẹ̀dẹ̀kejì ni pé mo wá bẹ́ẹ̀ béèrè pé mo expect pé bóyá wọ́n ní Gumi ń bọ̀ lórí program yìí so mo rí pé
ọ̀rọ̀ Gumi la fẹ́ sọ ni Gumi ò ní wá sọ́dọ̀ wa Gumi kẹ̀.
mo expect pé bóyá wọ́n ní ń bọ̀ kó lè wá so ẹ ṣé gan ẹ má bẹ̀ tó lọ.
Ẹ ṣé gan ni ká tó fèsì sí doctor we have another caller here. Hello caller wa.
Hello Mr. Koiki Kalesa.
Ẹ kálẹ́ o ẹ bá gbóhùn sókè díẹ̀ à ń gbọ́ yín.
Ṣé rí gbogbo nǹkan tí alàgbà yẹn sọ gbogbo ẹ̀ ó very correct.
Okay.
Ṣé rí àwọn òyìnbó yìí manipulator ni wọ́n dẹ̀ ní game plan.
Okay.
Game plan wọn wọ́n ṣe pé ká jókòó ká fọwọ́ rọ́rí pé kí ni adẹ̀tí achieve nǹkan tá a máa achieve láyé sùn. Ẹ̀yẹ ká sinmi. Game plan wọn is how to dominate.
Okay.
Wọ́n ṣe máa dominate gbogbo àgbáyé. So in order to dominate gbogbo àgbáyé wọ́n ní strategy. Wọ́n dẹ̀ ní offices fún gbogbo àwọn nǹkan tó bá ń ṣe. Then nǹkan tó bá ń ṣe wọ́n máa ń report center. So irú bí woman egbére yẹn àti alam bó ṣe máa ń ṣe tó máa ní kó ń lọ kiri yẹn ó ń ṣe kíní wọ́n kọ́ note wọ́n dẹ̀ feedback so gbogbo nǹkan tó ń ṣe wá rí àwọn tó ní pé tó sọ pé òun ti sponsor àwọn Nigerian pé òun sponsor àwọn ẹ má bí dà pé òun sponsor àwọn ọmọ Nàìjíríà tó jẹ́ kíní kan 100 àbí 1000 àbí kíní kan ló pè tán fún wọn ní scholarship kọ́ wá kàwé ìròyìn ara bó ṣe máa ń tírénì wọn nìyẹn because àwọn tó máa ṣiṣẹ́ fún wọn létà tó máa fún wọn tó máa recruit wọn àwọn ló ń pè nísìnyí pé àwọn lè wá jẹ́ agent wọn táwọn máa lò kò dẹ́ ṣe ọ̀dọ̀ wa nìkan ló ti ń ṣe wọ́n bá ẹ ṣe náà ní location 419 ló ń ṣe ní Ghana náà ló ń ṣe ní everywhere because
torí àsìkò ni ẹ ṣé gan ni bàbá wa torí àsìkò bí aago 9 la máa gbé tó yẹn wá sílẹ̀ thank you very much doctor mo mọ̀ pé ti gbọ́ ti question àti comment àwọn méjèèjì but bóyá for just 5 minutes gbogbo ntẹ bá wa sọ ní èdè Gẹ̀ẹ́sì yẹn ẹ kò summarize ẹ lédè tiwa díẹ̀ fún wa.
Okay, can you summarize it? I try it.
Ẹ ṣé gan ni.
Yorùbá mi ò dá tó bẹ́ẹ̀. So ọ̀rọ̀ tí mo sọ lénìí nípa àwọn terrorist Boko Haram terrorist bandits tá à ń rí lénìí ìtàn àwọn terrorist yẹn ìtàn ẹ̀ ni mo sọ fún yín lénìí ìtàn tí mo dẹ̀ sọ fún yín yẹn àwọn òyìnbó àwọn British ló colonize wa àwọn ni wọ́n support wọn àwọn ni wọ́n support nǹkan tó di terrorism lénìí tá à ń rí nípa Boko Haram bandit conflict ní northern Nigeria àwọn òyìnbó ló support bí kíní yẹn bí terrorism yẹn olùkọ́ ẹ̀ wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí máa kọ ní ìkọkúkọ wípé àṣàfihàn ṣe máa fi by force by fire láti fi ṣe religion fundamental radical Islamism gbogbo radical Islamism tí àwọn Boko Haram ń ṣe ní Nàìjíríà lẹ́yìn bí kíní yẹn ṣe bẹ̀rẹ̀ gangan ni Sheikh Abubakar Gumi òun ló bẹ̀rẹ̀.
Fáǹfààní àwọn tó bá ń gbọ́ wa just as we are just about 15 minutes away because like I said I want to make sure that we are not overusing you because it's going to be a long of conversation. Maybe another one might be in 3 weeks, in 2 weeks. You will always tell me, and to be honest, I will be ready anytime you give me your date and your time so that we can learn from some of those knowledge that you have gained as someone that also acquired that PhD. Tí kò ń ṣe tí àwọn politicians wa tí wọ́n fi owó rà and eventually they cannot defend it as well. In terms of when we talk about terrorists taking over, we saw the killing here in UK on Friday last week. It has now been classified as a terrorism attack. Should we be concerned that the present Nigeria today has been hijacked from the government, or either the government have been embedded, aligned with terrorists? Ǹjẹ́ present Nigeria tá à ń wò lẹ́ni tá a kan sọ pé Nàìjíríà ni wá, Nàìjíríà ni, ǹjẹ́ wọ́n ti darapọ̀ mọ́ terrorist, àbí terrorist hijack ìjọba mọ́ wọn lọ́wọ́, àbí wọ́n jọ ń sùn wọ́n jọ ń jí ni?
The way I see it is that, and there are so many ways to look at what is going on in Nigeria. I mean, I know about the MP that was killed by the Somali 25-year-old. I think it's a 25-year-old.
Yeah, 25 years old. You're right. Yeah.
And his father is actually a government official.
Yes, you're right.
Somali. And the government, the police, the UK Metropolitan Police have said that it's an isolated case. So he was a lone wolf and he became radicalized by looking at internet and so on and so forth. But going back to Nigeria, the way I see the terrorism in Nigeria right now is that I don't think the government has any control. I think they've lost control of what is really going on right now. Because at first, they were sympathizing, some terrorists and the bandits. And they are just trying to do a damage control sort of thing. They are trying to make it seem that they're still in power, but see, we don't even have a government in Nigeria. I wouldn't say that we have a government in Nigeria. The government is so weak. I mean, they appear very big and rich. You see these people, they flaunt their wealth and exercise their power, show their muscles. But in terms of the control that they have on these bandits and terrorists, I don't think they have any control. Taking over, and things will only get worse from here. If we don't split Nigeria, things will only get worse.
Well, once again, we'd like to appreciate all our viewers. We hope we're going to be bringing, this kind of, intellectual conversation, ọ̀rọ̀ jomi toro ọ̀rọ̀, láti fi gain more knowledge. Nítorí pé tá bá ń rí Gumi, let me just show us the face of Gumi that I'm sure a lot of you know, but we are discussing about his father. There's a good resemblance between himself and his father right there. Tẹ́ bá wo imú yẹn dáadáa, kò ń ṣe pé wọ́n parọ́ mọ́, ọ̀rọ̀ bàbá ẹ̀ là ń sọ. But let me just again tell us, his father died here in London in 1992. So bàbá ẹ̀ ṣe kú náà kò tí pẹ́ lọ títí ni. I mean, we're talking about probably some 30 years ago. But these are people that a lot of Nigerians do not even know their background. And if you don't know the background of anything, you might not even understand, the extent of our problem, and that's why somebody like Dr. Femi has been able to dissect and give us some of this background, and we hope we've all really enjoyed it. But before we let him go, and we're going to be bringing the program in just 12 minutes at 9 o'clock exactly, the Usman Dafodio, I know it's going to be a different topic.
That one is going to take more than one session.
Okay. Yeah, so should we say that the next section, whenever you are going to give us, I know you're a very busy man with your lectures and all that, should we be looking at somebody in that direction in the conversation? Should we say the next conversation?
Yes, that should be the next.
So fanfana ite ba mo ìgbà tí ó bá máa wáyé àfi tó yín létí, so that ọ̀rọ̀ Usman Dafodio la máa sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí. But èèyàn mélòó ni ó ti gbọ́ tẹ́lẹ̀ àbí ó ṣe ń gbọ́ pé Abubakar Gumi, ìyẹn bàbá Gumi tó ń lọ sọ́dọ̀ àwọn terrorist tó ń sọ pé òun lè bá wọn sọ̀rọ̀ káyé pé wọ́n ní terrorist mọ́. Èèyàn mélòó ló mọ̀ pé ó tẹ̀ gba scholarship nílùú yìí lẹ́yìn tẹ́ ẹ̀ ń wò wá ká tó máa ẹ kàn sọ pé yes mo mọ̀ àbí no mo mọ̀ èèyàn mélòó ló mọ̀, because these are the history that have been hidden away from millions of Nigerians. I don't know, I mean, I'll give you the opportunity, before we start winding down, if you want to say something to our brothers, sisters, mothers that were killed during the last year EndSARS. I know a lot of people died in Nigeria every day, but again, doctor, the EndSARS.
Yes. I mean, once again, that was a terrible, terrible, terrible time, terrible incidents, terrible moments in the history of Nigeria. Nigeria has had many terrible moments, but that was particularly terrible because it was the first time in a very long time, maybe in like 20 years or 10 years, that we had seen young people really come out showing a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of passion for politics. First time that we are seeing them come out to challenge, the mishappenings and bad things going on in Nigeria. And for the government to shut down their voice like that, it was a terrible thing. And I think we still haven't really felt the impact, the psychological impact that could have on the youth. Still haven't felt it today. That thing defeated their morale. And I say, to the families and the friends of the people that were killed that day, I send my condolences, and I implore them, encourage them to be positive. I know it's very difficult, when you lose someone to such a tragic event, to see the bright side. It's very, very difficult. But I implore them, I encourage them to let God take the wheel. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much once again, and I'd like to appreciate everyone that has been able to join us. Let us appreciate, a woman of, very strong and passion about this movement. As I'm speaking to you, I'm also, you can say I've got my AirPod on because there's another meeting going on here where we also have our emeritus, Professor Banji Akintoye. It's all about the movement. So as you can see, I mean, while I'm still hosting this, we're still also, in another meeting. And that is what we all do. And that is our Mamawa Sholako Bodoku. I don't know whether she wants to say one or two things before we go. If she won't let me just unmute her. Maybe she might just have an advice, or I've asked her to unmute. I hope she's still with us. I mean, a lot of people have said that they're not aware of this Sheikh Gumi father lived and died in, it's like he lived and died in London. Many people cannot even have access to London as of today. And that is the kind of life that our people back home have been told for a very long time. And we will continue to not just expose, educate everyone wherever they are. Let's also read, maybe we'll have one or two comments. Don't wait until everything is just right. It will never be perfect. There will always be challenges, obstacles, and less than perfect conditions. Get started now with each step you take. You will grow stronger and stronger and more skilled and more. Okay. So, and that's I'm going to read that because that's a very good one from Arise Shine. So it says, with each step we take, you will grow stronger and stronger, more and more skilled, more and more self-confident, and more successful. Believe in yourself, be persistent. Don't let anyone break your confidence. Believe in your dreams, follow them, never give up. If you believe you can get there, then one day your heart is free. Have a courage to follow it. Let's go, Oduduwa Kingdom. Yes, Oduduwa, our country. And I love that, kind of message to inspire us. Also, on our YouTube channel, Rukat Omomi says, Madam Sholako Bodoku of Biribi Okunibeni, a very strong woman. She was in Nigeria for a very long time. We greet all our brothers as well from the Biafra. Fire Inwena say Nigeria is dead. Happy Rashid say, good evening, Baba. Good evening to you as well. We're just reading the comment. We only have 6 minutes, and we're still going to play our anthem before 9 o'clock to close the broadcast this evening. But I'm going to give Dr. rather. He's not prof yet. I'm sure he's probably working towards his, is a professor very soon. Adding more to what, and we can only appreciate him as well. Titi Lokwe Akede, thank you very much. Some of you asked for volume. We're sorry if the volume was a bit low, but I'm sure maybe it's your device. Justin Reason, thank you very much. Mike Gold, thank you very much. Good evening as well to you. Vivian Tem, good evening. Bridget Agboma, I said thumb up to you as well. Ola Ramos, thumb up to you. Khadijat, good evening. Temitope Daniel, good evening. Africa Confidential says Osama bin Laden Gumi the second. Yes, they're all the same, and but we'll be bringing more of these. Yems Hook load links. According to report, Awolori Buruku have gone to Lekki Toge to protect the place. They don't want people to come out tomorrow. So, in just another 2 minutes or 1 minute thereabout there, Dr. Femi, and I like to say I really appreciate out of your very busy schedule. I thought I'm busy, but until we meet other individuals, brilliant, that are very busy, and you still have to give us about almost 2 hours of your time that we are not paying for. I mean, I'm sure if you're meant to be told to come and speak like this, only God knows how much you'll be charging them. But you are giving this for us for free, and we cannot abuse it. And that's why I'm not going to go more than 9 o'clock tonight. So you have another 31 minutes to just, say your final conversation to us tonight.
Yes. So once again, my brother, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to speak to people, to Nigerians, and all your supporters about an important topic, which is the life of Sheikh Abubakar Mahmud Gumi, who is the father of Sheikh Gumi that we all know in Nigeria today. I think it's very important for us as people, as Nigerians, and especially as Yoruba people, for us to know our history. I want us to try to make an effort. I know it's very difficult, to try to learn one's history in a country whereby history is frowned upon. For a very long time, the government banned the teaching of history in our schools. And if a group of people don't know where they are coming from, then they are not going to be able to know where they are going. We have to know our history. My brother now, has in the past 2 years been telling people about 1914. He has been telling people about the amalgamation of Nigeria, the 1914. And we know that was an important part of our country, of Nigeria's history, and especially Yoruba people's history. If people like my brother, Koiki, had not told Nigerians about that incident in 1914, the Yoruba nation movement right now may not have even been as bold and as big as it is right now. We have to start to dedicate our time, make sacrifices, dedicate our time to learning the history of our country, the history of our people. Thank you very much once again, and hopefully I would see you very soon.
Thank you very much, and we're going to go straight to the anthem. Thank you very much, Adekunle Adepoju, a very big brother of mine. Biafra Undefeated, thank you very much. Oseni Aliu, thank you very much. Oluola, thank you very much. Femi Bolaji, thank you very much. Benga Fagbi Fisayo, Faith David. If we haven't mentioned your name, not that we don't love you, we all love you from this end. And let's just play our anthem, and we say a very good evening to everybody, and we'll be back again some other time, as usual, when we continue with that conversation that we do. But like I said, we appreciate our doctor tonight, and this is the anthem. If you know it, sing with us.
Masih
At least agbóhùn ìyá wa agbóhùn wọn díẹ̀ even though people wa ẹ ṣé gan ni thank you very much.
Brother wa Dr. Femi Owolade, may God continue to bless you, may God continue to increase you. Torí pé message tẹ́ fún wa lálẹ́ tẹ́ fi educate wa owó ò lè rà and nǹkan tá need tí àwọn ọmọ wa need tí ìran Yorùbá need láti máa gbọ́ nìyẹn ká lè mọ ibi tí àwọn ọ̀daràn tó ń pera wọn ní darandaran ká lè mọ ibi tí ìpínlẹ̀ wọn ti wá kí àwa fúnra wa tá wà ní ìlú òkèèrè tá wà ní diaspora ká lè mọ̀ náà wípé àwọn òyìnbó yìí wọn ò fẹ́ káwa ọmọ Yorùbá gba òmìnira torí wọ́n mọ̀ pé threat la jẹ́ sí àwọn ṣé ti ọgbọ́n ni Ọlọ́run fún wa ìmọ̀ ni Ọlọ́run fún wa ilé ni Ọlọ́run fún wa agbára ni Ọlọ́run fún wa gbogbo nǹkan lọ́lọ́run fi kẹ́ àwa ọmọ Yorùbá torí ẹ̀ one thing I will say is àwa ọmọ Yorùbá no retreat no surrender Yorùbá nation has come to stay.
Thank you very much. Bye for now, everybody. Join us again some other time. Bye for now.
Nick Bobby. Ọmọ Olúwa dìde, bọ́ sípò ẹ̀tọ́ rẹ̀. Ìwọ ni ìmọ́lẹ̀ ògo adúláwọ̀. Amalgamation in Nigeria, created by the enemy of black men. Then, where the black never civilize. Location 9, that is what it is. The country where the leader said the people's glory. They don't get children to prostitute, and the toy boy children to terrorists. Now, terrorists don't take over. Yoruba people say we know they do again. Say how to do our nation, that is what we want now. Freedom, 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 freedom. Who the fuck they come and free us? Freedom, 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 freedom. Now, location 9, ìlú Boko Haram, ìlú àwọn hush politician àti S-men. Fake promises every year, fake miracle everywhere, fake military anywhere. Now, where the dry people wanna go? Biafra people wanna go. Location 419 need to break off. Freedom, 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 freedom. We need the freedom. Freedom, 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 freedom. Free education and audio. Good security na one chance. Over 100 million people don't poor. Mama nigga need a job, they know they see work. They want to go to farm, Fulani attack. Don't give me any fucking reason why we no go. Even many people say they wanna go. Freedom, 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 freedom. Freedom, 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 freedom. Tó bá gbàgbọ́ nínú Oòduà Republic, ẹ jẹ́ ká sún pọ̀. Your British came to Africa to come and enslave us, and you call it colonization.